Greetings, I am Kenjeen.
Oh, Kenjeen, thank you very much for coming. How are you?
Oh, Max, is that you?
Yes.
It is good to hear from you again. It has been a while.
How is your planet?
The planet is doing well. Much has improved.
Uh-huh.
And trade has increased. The planet is doing very well.
Do you still have wars?
We do not have a war at this time on the planet. There were some skirmishes on the planet for a great deal of time. They were not large, but they were disorienting, definitely. But now we have overcome them and things are in a much more peaceful way. We are actually enjoying a few years of peace now.
Nice. How much are you connected with the planet Earth?
We always are connected to Earth through many different means, through Maya, through the Orions, and directly through the Earth governments, and also through the galactic government.
Uh-huh. Is there like a mystical connection?
There can be at times, yes. The mystical connection comes when we attach to our mystical thought processes about the prophecies of the planet, the way the planet is moving. We must find different ways to interpret all the things that are happening. Remember, having all those different kinds of communications, you hear things in different ways from different positions.
Do you have an artificial climate on Erra?
We have a climate, we have our original climate, but we have added to the climate because it was deteriorating. So 50-50.
Uh-huh. So how does it look? How do you modify the climate?
We modify the planet with using interplanetary gases and heat to melt some of our ice caps to bring more atmosphere to the planet. Also, we create some of the atmosphere as well.
Uh-huh. So can you tell me a little bit about Tara? How is your connection with Tara?
Tara is where the silvery white Pleiadians live. They are third dimensional actually, and are moving into higher thought processes all the time. They are actually slightly ahead of you, maybe 50 years in evolutionary time. So they are they have space age abilities, but are not really as advanced as Mayans, Orions, or we are, and they are still struggling with their space programs. But they are actually doing much better now. You must understand the rotation of their planet is a little faster, and so their evolution also is slightly faster.
I didn't know the rotation speed relates to evolution, but it makes sense.
Yes, it actually does.
So what is your connection to them? You just help them a little bit?
We do help them. Since they are aware of us, they are aware of the Pleiadian processes, which means they become part of the Pleiadian Council. They are also part of the Galactic Council, but they're a fairly new member within the last 30 years. So they are not really very understanding of all the things that happen within the Galactic Council. They are constantly asking questions and will for another 20 or 30 years be a little behind on everything that moves so quickly in the universe. So we do help them as much as we can. Their communication systems, we have helped them upgrade. And so they are now doing better with that. But they are having trouble with their evolution because their people do not moving so fast with their evolution. People are struggling emotionally.
Wow, I see. And what's your connection to Maya? What's how do you work with them?
Maya is we are in constant communication with Maya because Maya is the center of all things in the Pleiadian realm. Maya is the highest of the evolution on the evolutionary platform for the Pleiadian agenda. They are in charge of the ascension. They are in charge of many things. So, and they have the Zhondai Council. The Zhondai Council being well known throughout the universe for helping in very many ways, and also are well known on Earth as the Jedi. And the Zhondai Council is far beyond what they have developed the Jedi to be on your planet, but it is the same kind of workable understanding of energy and force.
So, are there any other important for us players or forces on in the Pleiadians?
I cannot hear you.
What are other Pleiadian planets and civilizations which we should be paying attention to?
Well, there is Palana, there is Tara, there is Erra, there is the planet which the Nords are part of, that has several different names. Their latest name for it is Lendau. The planet of Lendau is also in the Pleiadian realm. There is, I said Palana, right? And Erra, Tara, and which one didn't I say? There's another one. It's another Erra, Freira. But Freira is more primitive. They do have intelligent life on Freira, but it's very rarely talked about because it's it would be like the 17th century on your world.
Very interesting. So, as it relates to our present reality, the main question I just realized that most of our celebrities and how do you call them, world readers, they have no clue who is manipulating them. I don't think they are they understand much better, you know, what is the cabal and who is on top of it. Do you have any insights into actually how are they being manipulated and who is in charge?
Well, first of all, they're kept blind. They're not getting access to the truth of what is really going on everywhere. They're blinded by their own popularity. They're blinded by positivity in a different way. They're being supported by those that tell them that they're wonderful, they're great, they are the best of, and so they really cannot see the truth about what's happening in the world, except for when they watch the news, which is also manipulated in some ways. And so therefore they don't really know anything. Some of them have broken through to an understanding of the other side psychically, but still are kept in the dark because they don't want these people to know exactly how they're being manipulated. However, more and more are getting awake because it is just necessary for the ascension to have even those in the higher realms of politics and popularity be awake to the things that are necessary, that are going to be happening, and be aware of what these things mean. So we are trying to keep that in our thought processes as we are bringing more information to the earth about first contact. First contact is actually already started, in the sense that more and more people are understanding that UFOs exist, that aliens exist, that things are different than they used to be. They used to believe in flying saucers, but then some would not. And no one believed in aliens at one point. They always thought that that was hogwash. And they always thought that it was just something that was made up. But now they're starting to believe that we do exist. They're starting to see an outside reference that makes sense to them, because the information that's being sent through the alien agenda is much different than what they understand in the human agenda. And so it is starting to sink in that we do exist, and that we are positive, and that there are negative and agents out here as well as positive. So we are educating the world little by little, all of us out here, Pleiadians as well as all other species that are positively oriented toward your planet.
So are you in a connection with reptilians who are in control of Cabal?
The Cabal reptilians will not even admit that they are connected, but we know that they are. They are the Zeta reptilians that are also connected with the Zeta Greys. And so they are in the same family of thought process together. And so we know that they work together. We know that their ingenuity is very devious. We know that they can get in and out of situations, because that is what they focus on, is how to be negative and how to be devious. And so being at that, as that's what they concentrate on, that's what they are able to achieve.
How about Draconians in the Cabal?
The Draconians have their own agenda, and it is the same as the Cabals, only they want to do it differently. The same thing, but different. So they are trying to do it their way. The Cabal is trying to do it their way. The ideas are the same, but the procedures are different.
What stars are they, or cultures are they related to?
Many of the Draconians are related to far behind the Andromedan area. It seems like many of the non-humanoid beings come from beyond the Andromeda side of the sky. There are others, of course, but it seems like that is where a lot of negativity formed, because of the collision of the galaxies. And so that brought a very negative view of God into their realm. And so they are now, they're a lot more negative from that era of the universe, or area of the universe. So, but there are other negative beings, such as insectoids, which do not like humans, and the tree people, which do not like humans because of the way that humans treat trees. And insectoids are always upset about the way insects are being treated here. So you have these different intelligences from the universe that are unhappy with the way humans treat their kind of species.
So what's the agenda then?
They really try to stay away from the earth. Insectoids and tree people really want nothing to do with the earth. They think it's a lower class society they don't believe the prophecies that it's actually a savior planet. They don't, because their DNA cannot be affected by our DNA, at least they believe that. So their thought process is they want nothing to do with it. They know that it's, there's no way to terraform it at this time, even though the reptilians are trying to terraform the planet. Their terraform process would be totally different, and they are just not interested at this time.
How about Orions and Nordics?
The Nords are always interested in ruling. They want to take over things. They want to be in charge of things. That is where the Nord attitude is. They are always looking for an opportunity to be seized so that they can take over, such as the world war that they were involved in, where Hitler thought that they were amazing and he wanted to start an Aryan race that looked just like them, and they let them backwards engineer some of their technology, and even time travel was backwards technology, but it was unsuccessful. It was successful, but yet unsuccessful, because it went back in time, but it also crashed and the people were killed. So it was unsuccessful and successful at the same time in some ways. So, but their culture is a culture of conquer. But there is a new section of the Nords that are much more peaceful, much more evolved. Just like on your planet, there's a section of your planet that has never evolved from barbarian times. But there's also a section of your culture which has evolved much farther than the average portion of your planet. So it is the same on their planet.
Are these Nords coming from Pleiades or Orion?
I cannot hear you.
Are these Nords coming from Pleiades or Orion?
They're coming, well, the Nords are coming from the Pleiadian area, and they have civilizations and colonies on other places, or in Orion, Sirius A and B, Cassiopeia, many other places, yes.
So these are the same Nords as Pleiadian Nords, right?
Yes, exactly. Just that they're traveling around the universe.
So how do you deal with them? What relationships do you have with them?
What relationship do we have with them?
Yes.
We have a very peaceable one. They are Pleiadian. We're more in contact with the positive side of their culture. We know of the other side of the culture, and we are in contact with them as well. It's a different kind of communications. It's like you communicating with England is a very friendly communication, whereas you communicating with Russia is sometimes very tense, or with China is sometimes very tense. That is like our communication with the negative side of the Nords, but we usually can get through and have conversations that are good and positive.
So if I want to speak to some of the representatives from the positive Nords, who would I speak to?
Who would you speak to?
With the positive Nords, yes.
There are several. They have a very nice council there. I like Repo. His name is Repo. He has a longer name than that, but but you can call him Repo. And there's also Thad. He's also good. Repo and Thad, and Dinyar. Those are would be my choices for you.
Yeah, I'm very attracted to Mars. It's like my people. So I'm, um, uh, I'm sorry to hear that they have so much of negative side to them.
Well, it's a smaller faction than the positive side, um, but it's like 1/3 of the planet.
1/3 is positive or negative?
1/3 is negative.
Got it. So my next question goes to Blue Aliens. Are Blue Aliens also part of the cabal?
You are really breaking up.
Are Blue Aliens also a part of the cabal?
I don't.
Are Blue Aliens a part of the cabal?
Blue avians are not part of the cabal, although they have gotten a bad rap recently for not guarding the solar system as well as they could have. The thing is, it became evident that there was problems on their own worlds, and they had to look at them first and look at our solar system, or not our solar system, but your solar system secondary. So they backed out of protecting it. And so I think that was wise of them to save face and to deal with their own problems first.
So thoughts, and thoughts, the same person were a Blue Alien, right? So is there like a following of him among Blue Aliens?
Yes, there is. But it has diminished because they see that Thoth has lost some ground in the universe and lost some, he's made some errors and lost some ground and lost some following.
I got it. So I'm changing the topic just a little bit. So Elon Musk is, on one hand, is one of the richest people in the world, and on the other hand, he's very progressive in many ways. What are his alien connections? Is he like really speaking to the aliens consciously?
I believe he is. His communications with aliens have been very secretive, have been very off the record, if you will, because many, let me put it this way. He is not really permitted to speak to them the way he is speaking to them. And so his communications with them have been very, very secretive. But the very fact that he has the technology to be able to speak off the record and off the charts with them, charts meaning that no government can hear him, is a miracle on its own. And so a lot of aliens don't even know that he's talking to aliens, but we do know that he is.
So would it be the positive ones or the negative ones?
I believe it would be some of each, but he is more looking for the positive ones. But you know, they can be very tricky. So it is that he has to be very on the ball, which he is. And he has turned away some thought processes of some of these aliens because he really looked into it, what the future dynamic of what they were talking about would entail. And he turned away some of their ideas and actually turned away from some of those species. We know that because there has been reports of that in the sort of underworld mumblings and newscasts.
What can you describe a little better what is underworld newscast?
Well, there's the ones that come to all peoples in the galaxy that are free aired and the news is clear and poignant, but there is other places that get their news from darker sources. And so some of those things leak out into the positive realm as well, especially if some of it is considered noteworthy, and that was considered noteworthy.
Wow. So there is some sort of internet in your world as well.
Of course.
Wow. So I studied the biography of Elon Musk about very thoroughly, and about 20 years ago he was under pressure, and essentially federal government bailed out him out of the
You are frozen.
dependency from the, at least looks like 20 years ago Elon Musk lost his independence from the federal government.
Yes.
So he is under control of someone or some forces. So what are the
well, he made some other alignments, and they were very profitable, and they were more business oriented than anything else. But the thing is, he was given direction by outside sources that where to make this money, and if he could do this successfully, that he would be able to control all the thought processes that he wanted to control. And he went through with it, and he was, in their estimation, 94% on target. And so he did what he was meant to do, and now he's doing even more greater and secretive work than you can imagine. Even the secret space program has taken him in some places to talk to him.
that's very helpful, huh? And how serious is his progress with bionics and connection of the human to the computer?
Well, there's several different kinds of reports about that. Some say very successful and others say somewhat successful. I say it is closer to somewhat successful, because I do not think that he has overcome some of the difficulties with the computer in moving into sentience and into a positronic thought process. But he has overcome some of the greater details when it comes to computers learning, computers understanding, and starting to feel emotions. But there is many problems with that at first, because once a computer learns a certain emotion, it will dwell on that emotion for a great deal of time until that is the only emotion that it can handle. So other emotions cannot come in. So to work emotion into computer understanding is much more difficult than you must understand. You cannot introduce them all at the same time. You must introduce them one at a time, and doing that causes an imbalance psychologically in the computer understanding.
Okay, thank you. I got it. Now, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, what's his connection to the aliens?
His connection is that he knows they are there. He wants to connect with them. They have connected, but not to his satisfaction.
How independent is he, and who controls him?
That is a good question, because there are some questions about that. He is cabal controlled in some ways, because that is how the fortune was gained and how Amazon works to continue to move forward. However, he does not really like that connection because he would rather be free thinking. And he cannot be free thinking with that cabal connection. And so there is some dissension between them, although he does follow them still.
How about Mark Zuckerberg? He looks very alien by himself.
He is. He is definitely alien, and he is definitely part of the cabal in some way. We're not sure of his connection, but it's very obvious that he works in some way for them.
Was he there from the beginning, or was he sort of hired later?
I think he was there from the beginning.
Yeah, that's my feeling too. It looks like he was given a task, and the project was well thought through from the very beginning.
Yes, I agree. We see that the connection goes very far back.
But what kind of aliens are in contact with him? What race he is from?
He is not human. He is definitely from a gray or reptilian base.
Got it. How about Richard Branson of Virgin Galactica?
Interesting character. Hard to define his connections, because he moves around a great deal in his thought processes. He doesn't stick to one thing, and he moves across thought processes quite easily. So we think that he is part of the cabal, but we are not sure, because some of his thought processes goes against what cabal might think, but others of his thought process fit right in. So he is one of those ones that we are not sure where he fits in exactly, but we feel that there are some connections.
Is there like an alien race which you would think is closest to him?
Yes. That species was Anunnaki.
Wow. How about Putin? Who controls Putin?
The reptilians.
Are these reptilians of cabal or sort of independent?
They were independent at first. You have to look at his history. If you see him when he appeared in the Olympics several years ago, there was no expression, no anything about him that was distinguishable as human. He was very autonomic. He was being controlled by the reptilians that were grandfathered into your species a long time ago. But now he broke free of them because he's realized what they were doing. And yet he has grabbed on to the cabal-oriented reptilians now, or the cabal as a whole.
Okay. So how about Chinese? There is like a whole Chinese Communist Party. Who controls it?
Oh, definitely cabal, and definitely the emotionless factions of the cabal. They want to erase emotions as much as possible from the human race, or either that, or they want to manipulate the emotions of the human race. So that's why all this separation. They are destroying connections between all beings, family presence, friends, political allies are being destroyed. All things are being separated. This gives them much more control. This also destroys emotion. It brings a greater, or I should say less emotions to people after they have disconnected from all things that they care about. Emotions start to go down, and this is another way of controlling.
And the last question is about Donald Trump. He seems to be connected to the aliens and playing multiple games. What are these aliens? What are these games?
They would be the same aliens that are connected to Zuckerberg.
So what was the truth behind the QAnon phenomenon?
The what? The QAnon?
Yes.
They've been proved to be incorrect several times now, but they still continue to push forward, and they still continue to gain popularity. But they are actually a negative group that is trying to deceive the world.
Is it a human group or the alien group?
Both.
So is there any good side of Trump?
No, not really. He is handed over to them. He has been a part of them, and he continues to fight and will not give up his fight for them. And they love it because he causes dissension and separation in the country. And that's what he is there to do. He is to bring separation to the country.
How about Biden?
Biden is more of an innocent in many ways, still controlled by the cabal, but not knowing that he is.
So he is not connected to the aliens. He doesn't speak to the aliens.
He knows that they are there. He knows that they exist. He has spoken to them when he was in office as vice president, but he does not want to speak to them as president yet.
I see. Thank you very much. My time is over, but your answers were very helpful. And actually, I asked all the questions and you answered all the questions. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hello?
Hey, Jim, welcome back. Thank you very much for the session.
I can't hear you.
Thank you very much for the session.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a great day.
One more message. Try to get in touch with groups of people. Maybe go to Reiki group or to a church or other groups of people. You need connection to physical people in a group.
Yes, that's true. I do.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.